Well, welcome to the Kia Hub. We're about 2 hours away from start of play for the second Investec Test match between England and West Indies. It's a day game. We're not under lights this evening. But what was your impression of Edgbaston?
I enjoyed it. I'm not sure people who had tickets for day 4 or day 5 or freezing cold on day 3 enjoyed it too much. But I think as a one-off and something maybe once a year to play in England, one test match a year, I think the ECB are thinking that. I wouldn't do any more than that just because of conditions and how cold it gets at night here in England, but as a one-off and something to look at in the future, just to play one test match a summer, I think it was absolutely fine.
Talking about the future, what have West Indies got to do better?
Well, there's been a lot of stick between that game and this game. A lot of the legends like Curtly Ambrose, etc., have been in the papers. I think it's very unfair to compare this West Indies side with arguably one of the greatest sides that's ever played the game. Not easy for them to live in the shadow of that team, especially when a lot of them are here. Michael Holding's in our commentary box. We've seen pictures of Viv, Gordon Greenidge, Andy Roberts. But I think they do have to do the basics better. You know, Alistair Cook, where do you not bowl to Alistair Cook on his pads all day long? Averaged 30 against South Africa, averages 240 in this series. Fielding, they're a young side. They don't have many over the age of 30. They were diving over it, drop catches. And the captaincy, I think the captaincy has to improve. You know, the debacle of not taking the new ball under lights at Edgbaston was beyond belief. So they got to do that better. They got to do the basics better. If they still lose, then you hold your hands up. And you also got to show a bit of passion. I think the West Indies greats want to see a bit of passion and a bit of pride from this side.
Very good point, but the top level of sport, they're at the top level of sport, so how do you ever get away from doing the basics well?
I don't know, and that's why I was a little bit surprised. Stuart Law in the press in between sort of said, I want my players to look in the mirror, and then he gave them a few excuses. What you don't do is make excuses about it being cold or about losing the toss. Those things happen throughout the course of 5 days. All you can do is control what you are good at, and the West Indies still have some very good players. They have some very good young players. Blackwood played brilliantly in that last game, batted beautifully. So just do the basics right, and if England are too good, fair enough.
Well, England make one change. We know that from Joe Root's press conference yesterday. It's going to be Chris Woakes back into the side at the expense of Toby Rowland-Jones. Why have they done that?
Because Chris Woakes is a seriously good cricketer. I thought it was a bit odd at Edgbaston to pick him in the squad and then not play him. I understood why, in as much that he didn't have enough overs in his legs or whatever. Why pick him in the squad? I always feel that when you're picked in a squad, you should be available for selection. That's what the squad is all about. Chris Woakes, the moment he's fit and has bowled enough overs, comes straight back into this England side. I think you're doing later the stats that he's had in the last 18 months or so. He's been arguably England's best cricketer in the last year since he got injured, before he got injured.
Are there any questions still to answer about this England side?
Yeah, I would say obviously Mark Stoneman got an absolute beauty. You can't just judge him on those 2 overs he faced. And Tom Westley just, you know, the more he's played, the more people have worked him out in that bottom hand. He'd like a big score just to cement his place in Australia, and the same with David Malan. So 3 of the top 5, which is unusual, 3 of the top 5 are still looking and searching for their best form.
OK, Nas, thanks very much indeed. Now, if you'd like to go and watch an IPL game in India, courtesy of Kia, just go to the Kia Hub.
A cricket analyst knows what's going to happen next.